If you're like me, you probably felt a lot of pressure to make sure you didn't mess up, but sometimes despite our best efforts, we make mistakes, and those mistakes, if they're big enough, can have serious consequences. In today's passage from Numbers, we see Moses making one such mistake. You see, after years of leading the Israelites through the wilderness, and during their constant complaints, rebellions and doubts, Moses reached a breaking point. The people were once again in crisis. There was no water. And in the dry desert of Zin, they gathered against Moses and Aaron, saying they wished they had died back in Egypt with Pharaoh rather than suffer thirst in this barren land. Tired, frustrated, and emotionally drained, Moses turned to the one source he had always relied on, God. And once again, God gave him a solution. But this time it came with very specific instructions. Take the staff, and speak to that rock before their eyes, and it will pour out its water. Numbers 22:8. So Moses did as God said. He gathered the people, and he spoke to the rock. And as everyone was watching, it cracked. Water poured out, and the people drank. But something wasn't right. God had been clear. He said, "Speak to the rock, not strike the rock." Moses had reverted to what had worked before. Back in Exodus 17, God had told him to strike a rock and water flowed. But this time the command was different. This time Moses inserted his own method into God's plan. And in doing so, he misrepresented God to the people. It was as if the miracle came from his own effort or anger rather than God's word. And God made it clear that this mistake was a big deal. He said, "Because you did not trust in me enough to honor me as holy in the sight of the Israelites, you will not bring this community into the land I give them." Numbers 20:12. That moment cost Moses dearly. After decades of faithful service, he would see the promised land from a distance, but never enter it. The place where the water flowed became known as Meribah, meaning quarreling, because it marked yet another moment of rebellion and, this time, even the failure of the leader himself. Now, to be honest, this story has always been one of my favorites. Not because I love the fact that Moses messed up, but because I see myself in his mistake. Like Moses, I want to do good. I want to help others and be a positive influence. But sometimes when I feel tired or frustrated, I revert to my own methods. I try to fix things on my own, or I complain instead of trusting in God's plan. So let's remember this, as spiritual leaders and as followers of Jesus. We have a responsibility to represent God well,